Maybe something unexpected happened, and the situation became problematic if things were left as they were. So the summoner tried to seal away the armane he or she had summoned, at least temporarily?
Yuri said, tilting her head.
Unexpected thing?
Chris asked back, and Yuri nodded as she looked up.
Yes. I think it's probably about you appearing at that moment. I feel like I read somewhere that if a demon is summoned to carry out a request concerning someone other than the caster, the ritual will fail if that person sees it while the spell is in progress.
What happens if it fails?
It depends on the request, but I think it either bounces back to the caster or results in something completely opposite to what was requested. Either way, it must have resulted in something the caster didn't want. I've never thought about asking a demon for something concerning someone other than myself, so I didn't really pay much attention to it.
But the caster would be you, right?
Yuri tilted her head.
No, I was just being manipulated. I have no will of my own. In this case, I think the summoner would take revenge on the one who was controlling me by summoning Sarlana.
Yuri nodded as if convincing herself while explaining.
So, the summoner hurriedly tried to dispel the spell. But since the demon had already been summoned, he or she instinctively tried to use me to contain the situation, but that also failed. The two who were there fled in fear of being harmed. The summoner was probably confused, too. He or she might have been thinking that doing something only after you had been dealt with by Armane, or something along those lines. However, contrary to his or her expectations, you ended up defeating Armane. So, the summoner pretended to fall and made it seem like she had lost her memory. In other words,
just as Yuri was about to say more, Sana jumped up and clapped her hands.
So that means the culprit is Ms. Tagawa?
Sana asked, pointing her joined hands towards Yuri as if she had guessed it.
Yes, I guess so.
Yuri nodded seriously, looking up at Sana. Then Sana pointed at Chris twice.
See, I told you. Just like I said, it was Ms. Tagawa, right?
Slowly approaching Chris, Sana said with a smug expression.
But since it's just my guess, I don't really know the fact.
Yuri said, wondering why Sana seemed so oddly pleased.
No, I'm sure that's right. That's why she came to the warehouse yesterday. I thought from the very beginning that there was something behind her.
Sana, straddling the swing's railing, confirmed to Chris with a triumphant expression, see?
Well, when you think about it, it's true that Chris is the only one who hasn't lost his memory, and everything falls into place.
Yuri nodded as if she was convinced.
But what on earth does she need to do that for? Is it to tear apart the relationship between me and Sana? We still don't know if the purpose of summoning the demon was to tear apart our relationship, right?
Yuri agreed with Sana's words.
Maybe she was asked by Sakamoto-senpai to do it? And then she tried to put on a good face and help out? Or maybe Sakamoto-senpai had some dirt on her. That's not true. She was really angry about the time Sakamoto-senpai tried to use violence against me.
Chris denied, and Sana shrugged, saying, who knows what the reality is?
Besides,
Chris turned her gaze to Yuri.
Ms. Tagawa shouldn't know anything about you, Sakurai-san, right? So isn't it strange to choose you as a summoner?
Yuri shook her head.
That's not really matter. Even if that teacher doesn't know me, she can just give instructions to Sarlana to find a spellcaster close to Chris who was powerful enough to summon Armane. I think it just happened to be me.
Oh, is that so?
It was surprising that such requests could be made to a demon.
I knew it. It really must have been Ms. Tagawa after all.
Sana said to Chris, who was looking down.
It might even be that Sakamoto-senpai was actually told by her to call you out. Or, she used a demon to give him the instructions, or something like that. So maybe that's why she showed up there at that time, too, don't you think?
Sana's opinion was indeed on point. However, it was unclear why Ms. Tagawa would do such a thing. Either trying to tear apart the relationship between Chris and someone, Sana, or trying to bring Chris into some kind of group. Speaking of which, Chris suddenly remembered the dream. It was a dream where he was walking endlessly through a fog in an unfamiliar place. At that moment, he heard Ms. Tagawa's voice. As Chris was desperately trying to remember the dream, he felt as if his name was called and turned to look at Sana. Sana also looked at Chris with a puzzled expression. Then, the two of them looked up at the sky at the same time.